What's going on, Crunch Time Survivors? It's your man, Coach Chain.
Coach Cat.
And I told y'all we was going to have something special today. Hey, man, these people are quite like, they're like family. We met them, what it was, the early...
2016.
2016.
Championship year, baby.
Championship year, the Tampa Bay Jaguars. When I tell you them Tampa Bay Jaguars be putting out all kind of product, I keep telling you, we the best in the business. If you want to do something great, you gotta you gotta take at least 10 steps through that program. And great things gonna happen. What happened?
That's when you came and got me.
That's when I came and got you? All right, but today...
that touch.
Hey, man, today... We're honored and blessed to be able to have the opportunity to interview Lake Gibson's 2-time state champion, wrestling state champion, 2 different weight classes, Gianni Maldonado and his dad, Marco. Crunch Time Survivors, y'all know what time it is. Now y'all stop playing with us, man. Y'all stop. Give it up for G-Dog. Coach O, I told you, man, you know what? I might get Coach O on the phone right now, man. I might get Coach O on the phone right now, man. G-Dog. Man, Gianni, man. First off, we want to say we're proud of you, man.
Appreciate that.
We're so proud of you, man. And with that being said, give the people a little bit about yourself.
All right, so as y'all know, my name is Gianni Maldonado. I'm a senior at Lake Gibson High School, and I was born and raised in Tampa, Florida, and coming up through the Brandon High School wrestling program, and then eventually Lake Gibson. And now I'm heading to the Air Force Academy for my college career.
Like me, yeah.
Yep.
Now, besides, wrestling, what other sports did you play growing up?
So growing up, I actually played a lot of football. Football, that was my favorite. That was my first love.
Yeah.
A little bit of basketball, soccer. I was real good at soccer. I love soccer. And then eventually, when I was about 10 years old, I started into wrestling.
So now playing other sports, did it help you out with wrestling? Or?
Oh, yeah. They work hand in hand.
Okay.
Actually, when I first began wrestling, it was to help me with my football, because that was my main sport. That's what I thought I was going to do. And it was supposed to help me, become a better linebacker, tackling, all that. And I started getting really good at that. And, that's just what God had in store for me.
So out of all the sports, what was your favorite?
And football, for sure, football.
Football, for sure?
Yeah. Growing up, that was, like I said, my first love. That was my number one. I used to...
Hey, wrestling wasn't even thought of back then.
Yeah?
Yep. Eat, sleep, bleed football. That was
Wow.
So you say wrestling has been going on since you were how old?
10 years old, about 5th grade.
So right now you've been doing wrestling for how long?
7 years, or 8 years, about to be 18. So, 8 years.
March 27, be 18, legal.
Yeah. About 10 days.
Golly, man. Hey, but as a kid, right? Because when we were coming up, we used to watch wrestling. Well, the type of wrestling we used to watch is a little different from the wrestling you actually do. And my favorite wrestler back then, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I would have to say I was a Dusty Rhodes fan.
The American Dream.
The American Dream. The son of a plumber. The son of a plumber.
He okay.
Hey, who better than Dusty Rhodes? Who's better than Dusty Rhodes? Who was that?
HBK.
He's talking
the
about
Heartbreak Kid.
Who?
Shawn Michaels.
Sweet chin music.
Man, come on, man.
I gotta disagree with him.
Man, listen. He's a blonde. He's not even a natural blonde. He bleached his hair. Dusty Rhodes is a natural blonde. He's a PSA, a plus size athlete, and he look good.
That's the only reason I like him.
Man, come on, man. Come on, man.
Shawn Michaels number one. Point blank period. Man, if you gonna put anybody over him, anybody, it's the Nature Boy.
Ric Flair.
Ric Flair.
Where Ric Flair got his style from? He stole Dusty Rhodes' juice, and everybody know that.
It ain't about who did it first, it's about who did it right.
Hey, it don't matter what we think. Who is your favorite wrestler, G?
Hey, I don't know American wrestling. I know this. I don't know WWE. That's not me.
He know real wrestling.
Hey, you know real wrestling.
I know Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, you went old school, man. I thought you would have said John Cena,
baby.
The Rock.
Hey,
Can you spell with
I'm not gonna fault that. I grew up. I was a Hulkamaniac, bro.
You was a Hulkamaniac. Okay.
me onto that a little bit.
Oh, he did?
Nothing crazy.
He did. Okay, all right. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So you didn't watch that kind of wrestling.
Like Olympic wrestling, all that. I probably have to say my favorite, Spencer Lee. I don't know if y'all know who that is. He's a three-time national champ.
Yeah.
He lost it his senior year, but he's three-time state champ.
He went to college. He went to was it Michigan?
Iowa.
The Hawkeyes, yep.
Man, so
growing up, I tried to emulate him as far as my wrestling style, and I learned a lot of my moves. You know, my dad used to show me videos of him in high school growing up, and I try to emulate a lot of my wrestling after him.
wow.
Yeah.
So once you really got focused on wrestling, what can you say is the difference between wrestling and other sports?
So, man, honestly, the similarities are better than the differences. I think it teaches you to be tough, just like football. You know, it teaches you to stay in the grind, to be able to persevere through hard times. And I think I learned a lot of that in all the sports I played, not just wrestling.
But wrestling a little bit of a different animal. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just similar. But man, I just with the weight cut, with the grind, you know, and it's all you, obviously. You know, when you're doing football, you're relying on others to make you or help you in many ways. So that's why I probably say it's probably the biggest difference.
So you wrestled as a kid. Like, at what age? You started at what age again?
10 years old.
At 10 years old.
Yep.
So you wrestled, you played football, you played soccer, you played basketball.
Yep.
Yeah, I did my research. I dug a little bit. Out of all of them coming up as a kid, which one taught you the most discipline?
Wrestling for sure. And, you know, I still do it to this day. But, I mean, I think that teaches you probably the most discipline out of any sport out there. You know, with cutting weight, staying on a good diet, working out constantly. I work out 24/7 every day. And it's such a grind to be able to stay in the sport and just to be all right at it. So to be really good at it, you got to put in even more work. And I think that probably taught me the most discipline.
So about how long in wrestling did you realize, okay, this is what I want to do? I want to wrestle.
So what's funny is I started taking wrestling serious when I was about 13. Like, just that was it. That was my only sport. Before that, I used to play football and all that. But coming in out of my 8th grade year, going into my freshman year of high school, I was ranked number 2 in the state coming in. Like, I didn't even wrestle a high school match yet. And that's when I kind of knew. I was like, okay, I'm pretty good. I can hang in there with these guys. You know,
the funny, I'll tell you a quick story is Gianni, you know, one thing he never did, he never argued with me about anything. You know, we made decisions. Obviously, a lot of decisions came from me, you know. I asked him one time about the wrestling because I actually thought he really liked it. He told me he really kind of didn't like it. He wanted to go back to football, but he listened to a lot of what I would tell him. So as he stuck with it and realized how good he was, you know what I mean? But yeah, he went into his high school year as the number 2 ranked wrestler. He actually got bumped up to 1 because he beat the number 1 kid at that time. We used to do a lot of off-season tournaments, right? So then there was a kid that came down from a top weight that was a previous champion. So Gianni was number 2 on that whole year, and he actually went into the state series undefeated and ended up taking 5th. He plays as an All-American.
Wow.
Which at that time, when he was still there, was top 6. Now they have it top 8 where you can All-American.
Wow, so let me ask you something. Like, your youth career came to an end, and you were playing football, you were playing basketball, soccer. You knew you were going to play football, you knew you were going to play wrestling.
Right.
I mean, you knew you were going to wrestle. And out of what schools did you have in mind going into high school?
So really, we didn't really have any schools in mind. It was sort of like my dad sort of knew where I was going. It was probably going to be Brandon. That was pretty much the main one. Jesuit, Lake Highland Prep in Orlando was like a consideration, but nothing. It was pretty much Brandon.
Yeah, pretty much Brandon.
The funny thing, like Lake Gibson wasn't even in the picture.
We didn't even think about Lake.
Lake Gibson was a good school, but it just was not even a thought, you know.
Right.
And it's funny how things kind of work out in the end, you know?
Yeah.
How did it work? Like, what led you to go to Lake Gibson?
No, just I'm pretty sure it was just, you know.
Well, that's all. I mean, honestly, like, to me, if you ask me, like, and I'm pretty sure he has his answer, but it was just more for growth. Sometimes you're in a situation where, you know, you feel like maybe a change is necessary. There's
Everybody's
no
different.
no disrespect to anything else. Like you say, we learned a lot, but it was there. But at Lake Gibson, I mean, once he got there, we got to do a lot of national tournaments. You know, we were traveling, doing this. That's actually what made Gianni's game a lot better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everybody has a different style, different thing about them. Some people could strive more at Brandon, but I think I strive a little bit better at Lake Gibson.
And with that being said, you had the opportunity to be trained by a legend and a guy that's almost a living legend now with what he has done.
Yes,
what
sir.
he has done. And how did you benefit from both of the guys' Tulich? Like,
so they're
what
both-
was the difference?
Right. They're both honestly complete opposites in their own right. But
Yeah.
I'm blessed to be coached by both of them, to be able to have that opportunity to be coached by both of them. But I would say they have different styles. One's a real big motivator. One can get you to run through a wall for him.
Yeah.
The other one's a technician, and he really knows his stuff and knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But they're both, like I said, legends in their own right, and they both gave me the platform and the opportunity to do what I have to do.
Oh man. So let's run through your accolades, right?
That's actually a blessing.
It is.
Yeah. You got the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
They almost form like Voltron. You got the best of
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
That was great.
Honestly, with me, with just hearing one, once I heard what the first coach can do, that would make me feel like you can't get no better. Well, what else can you learn? Now you learn a different way.
Man, what Coach Walker has done at Lake Gibson
Yes, sir.
is phenomenal.
Yep.
But I'm
Yes.
so freshman year you wrestled at 132.
Yes, sir.
Senior year, man, 204 wins. Man, that's like a school record, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So
Most wins in Lake Gibson.
when you were actually, before you reached that milestone, when did you make that the goal?
And it's funny because it was honestly like real close. I was about like 191, 190. And I saw this one kid had like 100 wins or something. And I thought about it and I told my dad and I was like, hey, how many wins do I have? And we started doing the math. It was at like a random Sunday. And we realized that we were actually pretty close to achieving the goal. And it was never really, I guess, call it a goal. It was just something that, happened. I was just focused on the next match and wrestling and performing my best. And it just worked out that way.
Yeah, it was kind of because he comes up to me. He's like, Dad. He was like, not for nothing. I did the math in my head. I says, I'm actually close to like 200, right?
Yeah.
And no lie, when he first told me that, the first thing that popped into my head, no lie, was Terrell Davis. He used to play for the Broncos.
Yeah.
And I remember when he got the 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
And he had said in an interview, he goes, I don't think any running back goes into a season thinking 2,000 yards. It's so far-fetched.
Yeah.
So you think, I'm going to be a 1,000-yard runner. Like 100, that was feasible. And, obviously, when his first year wrestling was the COVID year.
Yeah. Oh,
So he didn't
2020.
get as many matches. So if we're thinking, if we're thinking 200, that's not even going to be in the picture.
Yeah.
And sure enough, man, the numbers started creeping up, and it's like, you know what? If we maintain this, sure, I got 200.
So that when you started actually keeping count, did you kind of lose focus on the wrestling, or did you want to more so go with the record?
Nah, I wasn't even like the record. It just sort of came about. It was cool the way it came about, but the match that got 200, I was thinking about the record, but that was really about it. Everything else, I was just focused on getting better, dominating, performing to my best abilities.
What match was it that you actually broke the record?
The regional finals.
Regional finals?
Yep, right before state.
Right before state? Man. How long is the wrestling
And
match?
that kid that he beat in the finals took fourth in his weight class.
Wow.
So it was a tough kid. You know what I mean? But
Wow. So I'm like I'm just trying to, like, people don't realize how long is a wrestling match?
So it's 6 minutes.
It's 6
long.
minutes.
Yep.
And
So which that doesn't sound like a lot, but
nice.
when you're in there, hey, it's long. It's real long.
It's 6
tough.
minutes of hell.
6 minutes of grind.
Yeah, and trust me, I know. But how many hours you train for those 6 minutes? Let people know.
Man, it's thousands of hours.
Like 6 months.
Nah, I train year round. Like it's off season, during season, just constant.
yeah, that's the difference that people don't realize. And when it comes to wrestling, you want to be a really good wrestler. There is no off season. Your off season is your real season. Like that really kicks up. And I mean, we invested a lot. Like even during our COVID year, when a lot of things were shutting down, we were still out there somehow, some way looking for practices, and we did. It's the hustle. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna starve. That's the mindset. You want to be the best. You got to be willing to do what others are not.
Now, and what because when you said it, like the COVID year, how much do you think the COVID year helped or hurt you with having to train that year?
I don't think it affected us, but and actually I think it probably helped more because it teaches you, like, no matter what comes at you, you're gonna find a way.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying? And you know me, I'm from Jersey, so I didn't come from the top. I came from the bottom up.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really a hustler's mindset. Like, hey, you got to go get it.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
and we wanted to be the best. This is what we wanted to do. I want to make sure that I help my son the best he can. He can't drive himself.
Yeah.
Think about back, you know, so I had to do a lot of that work, but he obviously put in the work once we were there.
So, like, man, and you're very involved in what's going on, and a lot of kids are not privileged to actually have their dad along the way.
Right.
How has that
For
helped
sure.
you?
Man, he's helped me since I was a kid. He's been probably my main motivator, my main contributor, my main, everything. I feel like my dad has helped me to become the man I am today, for sure. Like, we put in a lot of work together since I was 6 years old when I started sports.
And man, like a lot of kids don't realize this, and I say this because I've been coaching a long time. I asked a kid that played for me. I said, "Who's your superhero? Who's your idol?" And these kids are, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes. And here it is, that dad that's sitting right in the house. Just your parents, period.
Right.
Should nobody be a superhero over them people? Because you see what they go out and do every day to make sure you eat, to make sure you're clothed, to make sure you...
All the sacrifices.
All the sacrifices. And it feels good to see a father and a son taking this journey together. But he gonna have to let you go. But when he let you go, guess what? He gonna sleep good because he know he did everything he was supposed to do.
A lot
as
of
a father.
people invest in things, right?
Yeah.
My greatest investment was in my son.
Wow.
In my family. Like, really invest. A lot of men, they go out there when they get older, they have their families and they have their little hobbies. I work on my cars and I do archery or fishing, and that's all cool. But your hobby should be your kids.
Yeah.
And that's what I chose to do. I chose to invest. And that's the beauty of it. That's God's free will letting us know, like, hey, it's up to you, man. I gave you a gift. That's what God gave me a gift, which is my child.
Right.
And I chose to invest in that. And you know what? If I could do it all over again, I would gladly do it.
That's the good thing about it.
This is one place you get to tell a story. Though some days he used to piss you off.
Yeah.
Hey, that door swings both ways.
Some days he used to make you mad.
Hey, that door swung on the way over here.
Now let me make sure it's because you did such a good job with your son. Did other people want to come to you? For
Was
coaching? Did the other kids want to come for you?
Oh
You
yeah,
coaching?
yeah. Honestly, man, I had that vibe where, like, a lot of kids, man, because you know what, I'm a teacher by nature. Like, I'll just start talking to a kid, and I'm teaching already. Hey, you can do this, do that. I'm just like that. I don't ask permission. I just do.
Yeah.
But a lot of kids respect that. I listen to them too.
Right.
Because I always believe in the traditional family structure. Like, they had those pivotal roles. You have the mom and dad, right? But sometimes the kids find it a little bit hard to kind of relate or correlate with them, right? So then your uncles, cousins, aunts, they all play pivotal roles where they, it's like, all right, let me get this. I'll handle it.
Yeah.
They'll probably listen to me a little bit more, even though the message is the same. So I think a lot of the kids kind of see that with me, and other parents too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
200 wins is a lot of wins. I mean, apparently you're accustomed to winning, and that started as a kid. And but tell us about your most memorable loss. What loss changed you and made you want it more?
Man, I'd probably have to say my freshman year in the state semifinals. Because up until that point, I was undefeated. I was on a roll. I was feeling good. And I think that brought me back down to earth a little bit. It made me realize.
Who did you wrestle?
It was Isaac Church of Charlotte High School in Punta Gorda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Great kid, by the way.
Yeah, awesome kid, great family. I still talk to him to this day.
Was he a freshman also?
Nah, he was junior that year.
Okay.
Matter of fact, his sister wrestles too, and he's another one that was coached by his dad a lot.
Oh.
You know, and his sister just won a state title.
Yep.
Wow, God bless her.
But yeah, so up until that point, I was number 2 in the state. He was number 3. Actually, we met in the state semis, and yeah, that loss was tough. It brought me back down to earth and made me realize what I really wanted to accomplish in this sport. And ever since then, I've been on an uphill climb.
So run us through the match. Like, what happened in the match?
Man, so I got up 2-0 at the beginning. I got a takedown at the beginning of the period. And then throughout the match, all of a sudden, my eye started bleeding. I think I shot a double, and he blocked with his head or whatever. And so it started getting in my face and wrapped my head and everything. It took about 4 or 5 injury times. And, you know, he started coming at me, piling up the points. I was a freshman. I wasn't mature in my mind. And I didn't know really how to come back from that in the middle of the match. And, yeah, he got me. He was the better wrestler that day, for sure.
So from hearing that, it seems like more so than the physical aspect, wrestling has a lot to do mentally.
Oh yeah, it's probably
for sure
90% mental.
Oh.
Physical, little. You know, you could be not as physically gifted, and you could be the best in the country.
So the smartest wrestler gonna win.
Yep.
All right, so say we getting ready for a big match, right? Because you lost the match at the Doc B, right?
Yes, sir.
And who did you lose to there?
So he's California state champ. I forgot his name, but he just won state in Cali at 157.
Oh yeah, and was that lost this year?
Yes, sir.
So that was one of the only 2 losses this year.
Yeah.
Well, he actually had 5.
Oh, he actually had 5.
Right.
But that was national.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost 2 at
Iron Man in
at the
Ohio.
Iron Man, which was another one that was the one in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And then he lost 2 at the Doc B, which was the one in California.
But that was amongst the best wrestlers.
best of the best.
The best of the best.
That's the top of the cream of the crop right there. You ain't gonna get no better tournaments than that.
Wow.
Like
I'm
these
saying-
kids are legit tough. You know what I
And I'm
mean?
saying, like, because you're so good, is it almost like everybody celebrates if they can get one victory against you?
Yeah, it kind of seems that way sometimes.
Yeah.
But
That record is unheard of.
yeah,
Man.
that's with my team and everything. We're so close together. It feels like it's us against the world sometimes, and it's.
So let me ask you something. Like I said, I dug deep. You got like a 4.344 GPA.
Yeah.
A
4-3.
4.344 GPA.
Yep.
You're one of the best wrestlers in the nation. You still have a life. How do you manage all of that
Honestly,
and still, do what you do day to day?
right. So my dad actually taught me a lot of, how to balance that growing up as a kid, because they always stress academics. Most parents stress, either all academics or all athletics. There's nowhere in between. But he really taught me how to correlate both together and to be able to focus on what you got to do when you're doing that. While I'm in school, I'm 100% academics. That's what I'm focused on. Not even wrestling. When I'm wrestling, that's all that, And
Okay,
then
so what's your favorite subject in school?
math. It's got to be math. I love math. I'm good at it. It's just
Crazy story on that. I think it was his sophomore year, right?
Yeah.
He gets to school, gets his new classes. He comes out. He has no math classes because he was so caught up. So he had like an extra biology class or something like that. So he goes to me. He said, "Dad," he said, "do you mind if I switch biology to take calculus?" I was blown away. I'm like,
Man, who asked
sure?
to take calculus? That's
What grade was this?
that's what I'm in my mind. I'm
That was
thinking,
sophomore year.
Man, come on, man.
That was sophomore
I
year.
was struggling with geometry.
I ain't gonna tell you.
bro, I was blown away. I'm like,
what class you was in? Intermediate now.
Listen, they were still showing us pictures and stuff.
Y'all still counting with crayons? Hey man, stop.
Hey, I was there.
Yeah, you was there? I was there. So you can't go to lunch with everybody else?
No.
Man, stop, man.
Wait, you were right back to
Y'all went right back to school?
Hey, same class.
Same class. So you used to have to ask the teacher, hey, can I go to the bathroom so you can fit in with everybody else?
Man,
Man, that's why you stayed in trouble, man. That's why you stayed in trouble. All right, man.
hey,
So,
I was like, hey, math was not my strongest subject.
man, math wasn't my strongest subject. I'm okay, but it's not the strongest. But man, run the people through how you train to get ready for a match. like you gotta cut weight. You know, you what matches are on what Tuesdays or Friday nights? What
Saturday.
Saturday. Oh, they moved on
Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. So you got all the way up to Saturday to cut weight, right? Run the people through what you do and what's your diet, what's your workout go to, how do you cut weight? Say you're 3 pounds over and it's Thursday night. What do you do?
So to be honest, for me, I don't really cut weight like that. Like I walk around, I eat clean, I work out constantly. I'm running, at least like 3 miles a day, I'd say. Wrestling, working out before in the morning when I wake up, working out in the afternoon when I get home. It's a constant grind. So I don't really need to cut weight. It's just sort of getting better at my craft. That's what I'm more focused on, the wrestling aspect of it.
Real technician, have you ever came close to weight? Have you ever missed a match because of weight?
When I was young, middle school, but not in high school.
Not high school?
I was
So you let the McDonald's and Burger King and all that stuff go?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was that one time I never forget.
Yeah.
I'm always using things to try to teach a lesson. So I knew he was gonna miss
We both
weight.
knew I was gonna.
He kind of did it. I don't know if he did it on purpose or what. He just didn't make the way. I was like, all right. I told him he was kind of a little bit off. I made him run around the parking lot, and he hated it, man. You can tell that. We're talking about that swinging door.
Yeah.
Well, that day it swung, and he hated it. And I knew when he was going to weigh in, he still was not going to make weight. But I still made him run. But it was to teach him a lesson, like, hey, if you're committed to something, live up to it, because it can cost you in the end.
Yeah.
So right now, when you're on those young levels, you get some of these parents, they take it so serious. Lighten up. You take it as and use it as a teaching lesson, rather than just get mad and let it go to waste. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he ended up having to bump up in weight, and now that he bumped up in weight, now he's underweight.
Oh,
Yeah.
You
And
see what I'm
it's
saying?
hard to move that
But
mountain and get a little harder.
G, I mean, he still took care of business.
Oh, you still take care of
That's the
business?
one.
Okay. At least it didn't call you. At least it didn't call. At least you didn't lose.
This time I want to know, now coming from your father training to new coaches, who was the tougher one?
Man, my dad. It's always been my dad. He's
No, because you got to go home with him. It don't end at the mat.
It don't get easier.
It don't get easier.
It
Because
can
you know
get
what? He'll be in the living room and he'll be thinking, you know what? Hey, G, come here. Yeah, I understand that shit.
I'm like, wait a minute.
You don't get to go home. At least you get to go home from those guys. But you got to go home with him, man. Yeah. But man, it's a blessing. That is a blessing.
he challenged me to be better every day. So
That's good.
It was what I needed.
All right, man, we about to get into it. Boy, one day I cut on the news. And I hear Gianni Maldonado, he did this great thing. I'm like, man, I know this kid, man. I know this kid. That's G-Dog. And then I'm sitting at the park with Coach Duke and Coach Otis, and man, Duke was like, man, did you see what G did? And everybody, I say, man, listen, man. And once I actually watched the story and the storyline, it's a movie. State championship. Y'all down by a point. You the last match left. And people like again, he said those are 6 minutes of hell. Don't think just because you're here 6 minutes, you can watch a TV show and fall asleep and get up. You can cook a meal.
And it's intense.
Man, those 6 minutes are hell. Run us through what happened, because you'll go first. You won the state championship your junior year.
Yes, sir.
Now you going for a second.
Actually, no, that was for the dual state championship
Right,
for the team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they were up by 1 point, and that kid that he was facing was the number 2 kid in his weight class.
Wow.
So that was not a cakewalk.
So that wasn't the case.
That was to be the best.
Yeah,
Oh,
be the best.
like he said, it really was a scripted movie that played out. I mean,
You gotta tell us about it. Tell us about that day. What you did that day to lead up to that match, and then it comes down to me. It comes down to me, and I gotta make this happen for the team. You gotta put the team on your back. Tell us about that day, man.
Man, so let's start from the beginning of the day, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning, we were weighing in the morning. I was like, hey, coach, is there any way I could be the last match for the state finals? I was like, I want that match. I promise I'll get it for you. And he was like, I'll see what we can do, because it's a random draw. Like, you can't. And it worked out. Like, they drawed it, and it was 157 to start off for the semifinals, because they started with the semifinals that morning. And I was like, perfect. I'm going to be the last match. Coach was happy. I was like, awesome. And so we wrestled the semifinals. We won. We took care of business. And then we had a little bit of time before the finals. So we were all getting ready, whatever. And as the duel started, it was real back and forth. We knew that at the beginning of the week. We knew it was going to be a real close duel. It was going to come down to the last few matches. And it ended up being that way. And we were down by 1 going into my match. And to be honest, I didn't even feel nervous. I felt ready to go.
So walking up to that circle, right? And people don't realize you walking up to this circle. And it's probably about, from the sideline to the middle of that mat, it's probably about a good 60 to 75 steps.
It's crunch time, baby.
It's crunch time. So when you look that guy in his eye, you already knew what move, you already knew what you're gonna like. Do you size a guy up? Well, I already know what I'm gonna do. What's your go-to first? What was the go-to first move in that match?
Man, I don't really have a go-to first move, to be honest. It's just whatever comes to me.
React.
But yeah, I saw the way he was lined up and stuff. You could think of a few things, but it was just going. I was just excited for the moment. I was ready to go, and I just went there and took it.
So when you in your head, when you keeping score, because if you down by 1, when you keeping score, like, okay, we tied now.
Yeah.
Now I'm up. When you was keeping score in your head, or you just
Yeah,
going?
so the team score was down by 1, but the match, so in wrestling, if you win a match by less than 8 points, it's 3 points for your team. So all I had to do was win the match, and we would have won the duel. So if I win it in any way. So as the match was progressing and we were getting deeper into it, I saw that I was starting to build a lead, and I was getting ready to, end it. And I wanted to culminate it. And so when I got it on that single leg and he rolled through and I caught him on his back, I was like, perfect. And I stuck him, and that was all she wrote.
That was his.
So man, when you stood up, did everything slow? After you pinned and the ref went bang. Hey, when you stood up, did everything slow down for you? And you were like,
Yeah.
we did this.
I was like, man, this is it. Like, we got this.
Man, that was a rush, y'all.
Yeah.
That was a rush, man.
Man, this is like sitting in the stands. I mean, because you had all the parents around us. I mean, it probably was one of the greatest moments. You know what I mean? Especially as a father, you think about it. But I was happy for the team, but obviously just the way it panned out. I mean, he got that culmination, like bam. You know, to win a state championship.
Everything you
Probably
did
the
paid
loudest.
off.
It was probably the loudest I've ever heard our team.
Yeah, man, that's probably gonna be the. Let me tell you something, man. Like, for your dad to be there, that's a beautiful thing, man. Cause the image is the reflection, right? When you stood up, I'm guaranteed it was a moment that y'all looked at each other.
Oh, yeah.
It was a moment. Y'all had that moment.
Once I was done, first thing I did, ran up to him.
Man.
At that moment, did everything he was teaching you go through your head? Like,
Yep. Everything I went through.
This that moment you dream for. Like, hey, it's on
You
your
ever
shoulder.
see those movies where they make like the edits where it's like all these flashes of like everything that's going on, all the training, all the hard work, all the swinging of the doors back and forth, and it pays off and it shows you see, this is what happens when that two-way street goes the way that it should. Because sometimes it's like me, I could be the best coach, the best motivator, but if he doesn't register it, then it's only going down one-way street. You feel me?
Yeah.
But I told Gianni, give yourself a lot of credit because you chose on your end to have faith and listen.
Wow.
So,
but you was faced with a decision. And you was faced with a great decision because that's the you survived crunch time right there. But let's go to your adversity decision because you was a good football player. And you had to make a decision. And tell us all about that decision.
Man, so, football, my first love, all that. And that's what I wanted to do. That's what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it was sort of a business decision that my dad sort of told me that I probably should do. And we decided together that, it was the best for me. I was getting a lot of concussions at that time. I was kind of small. And it just wasn't probably going to benefit me in the long run. I still might have made it. But as far as like the percentages stacking it on my side, I think wrestling was the better choice.
Because you a big man and you a big dog in your sport because everybody's your size.
Yeah.
And one thing that'll teach you, if you my size, you won't have a chance. So what's your weight?
that's not always true though.
Hold on.
Because
What's your weight?
157.
I like G over you. I like G over you. Yeah, you gonna run fast. Hey man, but man, listen, man. Like even to have to make that decision because everybody in this house love football. everybody in this house loves football. And to say, you know what, Dad, they have a leader to put you in the position to be great. And everybody don't have that support team. Everybody don't have that, and everybody don't have the will to listen to the support team, because I've been seeing some father-son combinations to where, and I don't feel y'all will ever go through this, but sometimes the kid, once they become men, they get here, well, you know what, I think I can make my own decision. And I'm gonna give you some advice. And let this stick with you the rest of your life. Your father is the only man that will truly ever, honest, with all his wholeheartedly, is the only man will ever want you to be better than him. That's the only man on earth that wants you to be a better man than him. So when you go out in that world, you ain't gonna be trying to be better than him. They ain't want you out doing that. He's the only man on earth that wants you to be a better man than him. So just like, remember that, and you pass that down to your sons. But like now, man, life is life. You went through the high school phase. You done great things. 204 wins, 17 losses, 65-5 your senior year. Now it's time to make a decision. Now the colleges are coming. Who are offered?
So I had interest from a few colleges. Obviously, the Air Force, where I committed, Campbell University in North Carolina, Missouri was talking to me, Arizona State, all those good D1 colleges, because that's where I was looking. And we finally decided on, the Air Force Academy to continue my college career. And I feel like it was probably the best choice. Even if, Penn State, who's the #1 team in the country, if y'all don't know, for wrestling, even if they offered me a full ride, I'd still probably take the Air Force. It was just the benefits, everything that comes with it, as far as, being able to serve your country, being able to have security, job security for your future, traveling, everything that comes with being an Air Force cadet. I feel like it's just too optimal to pass up.
And now with you, for the most part, your high school career, it was you and your father. How do you feel like it's going to be with just you in college?
I think I'm going to do great. I think I'm still going to talk to him, still going to be there, It's not like we're gone forever. It's just a change that has to be made.
Marco, I think that's the process we worked on. So little by little, as you're growing up, I always found little pockets where I can teach him a lesson. An example would be like when he traveled with the team. Sometimes he would travel without me there. So he got to learn how to be without us. Sometimes these kids need to know that. Lots of times, believe it or not, when kids go away, either college or whatever, they get homesick because they've never been away from home. They don't know how to handle the adversity. Yeah. But they don't realize if they stay the course, you'll adapt like anything else. That's just human nature. Yeah. Nah. You know what I'm saying? But it's having that, right? When he goes, I'm gonna feel comfortable. And you see how close I am with my kid. Right. I mean, but that was the goal. So the goal is from beginning to end. It's like it's not structured, but it is sort of a structure. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
What I like about that is, like I said, it's not on you, it's in you. You're a natural leader. So when you go out, I can tell you lead your team.
Yes, sir.
But how much do you feel like you affect your team as far as a leader wise? Like,
I can't speak for them, but I feel like personally, I'm like, the person on my team that everybody looks up to and that they can, come to help with their wrestling, their decision making, and I try to lead the team in the best way possible to be the best they can be.
A good example, Derek Brooks. He's like a Derek Brooks type. Where Derek Brooks was not very vocal, but he led more silently. And that's what Coach Walker says, that's my silent leader, where it's through your actions, helping other kids and, obviously for them to feed off what he's doing. And you look at it like, that kid accomplished great things. Look how he's training. Why not emulate that?
Yeah. Marco, now I'm gonna get you ready for something. Now, when he get out to school, they always say they're gonna call. You gonna have to call him, but dang, man, you forgot your dollar, Dad, man. I do this with my son. Hey, man, golly, man.
Yeah, that door gonna be swinging.
Hey, listen, man, with 18 to 25, Oh man, they busy. They busy. Now I see what my mom was talking about. But man, I never thought I'd get sour. Man, I ain't heard from my sons, man. Like what? But man, you know, I want to hear from you sometime. Make me look soft. But man, it's gonna come, man. But you know what?
Except if he asks for money.
Oh, that's gonna happen. No. That's what they gonna call. Hey, I noticed my account. It didn't ding this morning. That's how they get you. But you know what?
You don't speak English.
Hey, it's gonna be hard. Listen, when you miss that home cooking,
Yeah.
ooh, you gonna be, man.
When you come home, man, you gonna bite on one of your knuckles to eat that. And you going to the Air Force. I mean, I'm pretty sure they gonna feed y'all when y'all go on them tours and stuff.
And my wife is a great cook. I mean, I tell you, that woman, it don't matter what she make. Everything is top notch.
She cook it with love.
She cook it with love.
It's a difference.
Yeah, you gonna miss it. I'm gonna tell you that. You gonna miss it. That cafeteria food ain't nothing like home. I'm gonna tell you, it's not. If you gonna say there's no place like home, there's no. Where's the Air Force Academy located?
Colorado Springs.
Oh, I don't know nobody can cook up there, man. They said Dion catering stuff up there, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit up Dion.
Yeah, you gonna might have to hit up Dion, man. Tell me you the number one wrestler in the nation. That's how we feel, cause he's from Florida. And Florida, we do everything big. Dion gonna look out for you up there, man, cause he's from Florida. Fort Myers.
Yes, sir.
Fort Myers, man. Well, tell us your funniest wrestling story. Like give us your funniest story.
Man, there's so many different accounts.
Man, just give us one. Give us one.
Let me see.
Nah, give us one.
I told my son this a long time ago. I said, bro, don't try to be funny.
No.
He funny when he natural. When he try to be funny, he'll mess that whole thing up.
Hey man. Hey, listen, man. As long as you can live and laugh, man, laughter is the best medicine, man. But man, so once you get to Air Force, I mean, are you trying to actually? Because how does wrestling work? Is it a such thing as a red shirt?
Yeah, so actually what I'm doing is I'm going to the prep school first, the Air Force Academy prep school.
Okay.
Which is, it's just a year before the Air Force Academy, where it's like all 4 years in one, kind of shortened, to help prepare you for the academy. So I'll be in there for 5 years. One in the prep school, 4 in the academy. And it's like a gray shirt every year.
Okay. That makes sense.
And to be honest, actually even better because in traditional colleges, red shirts only allowed to wrestle but so many. I think like 5.
Yeah, it's only like 5 matches or something
where
like that.
In the prep academy, because the military is a little bit different, even though they do compete in D1, he could wrestle anywhere from 20 to 30 matches.
Because technically speaking, it's a completely different team. Like, it's not the Air Force Academy. It's like the Air Force Academy prep, Huskies or something like that.
Yeah.
So I can wrestle as many matches with that team as a red shirt. So
I think they actually gonna pull you up, man. 'Cause you got a lot of stuff. Like you got a lot of great stuff.
Do you prefer in college to wrestle at the same size? Or you want to go up or?
No, I'll probably stay around. 149 is an option. That's a weight class in college, or 157 again. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. If I grow, whatever.
Yeah,
You gotta get a little bit of vertical on him.
Yeah, I'm too short for that.
Hey, you too short for what? To go up?
Yeah.
Nah, hey,
165 in college, they grown men.
But sometimes it's advantage.
That's true.
When you gotta lean down.
Well, honestly, if you look at Gianni's matches, every kid he wrestled was bigger than him. Like I told him, you got like that Mike Tyson effect.
Yeah.
Everybody Mike Tyson fought was bigger than him.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. But when you get into a D1 level, we're a little bit different. You know what I mean? So it all depends.
Hey man, Coach O just post Alpha Dog, man. Man, hey, G-Dog on here, O. We gonna FaceTime you in a minute, O. Yeah. We on Instagram Live, O. Tap in, O. But, G, I know how hard it is, man. And like each level, and you pick the Air Force Academy, now that you're actually going to the academy, what are you gonna major in and what do you want to do in the Air Force?
So for the Air Force specifically, you don't have to choose your major until about your junior year, right? So they have a bunch of core classes leading up to that, so they give you time to make a decision. But as of right now, I'm looking to major in computer science and then get into cybersecurity in the actual Air Force afterwards.
Man, it's something about the military, because our last interview, Luke Knight, he's actually going to the Army, and he was a JAG. Man, these JAG, man, I'm telling you, these Tampa Bay area JAGs, man, there's something in the water in that program. What Coach Duke has done over there is amazing, and the supporting cast as far as all of the coaches, all of the board members, the families that are involved. Man, like it's a tradition, and the tradition keeps going, and you know it's a If you came through it, you have a chance to. You're gonna get that catch dog, and I told you what a catch dog was. And if you a hunter, you know what. If you a hunter and you know anything about hogs, you know what a catch dog is. And man, like your story is remarkable, man.
And it seems like you learned a lot from team sports, but how much did it teach you about just life in general as you've been growing?
It teaches you how to about everything about life, how it's ups and downs. You know, people doubting you, people supporting you, just everything that life is going to bring at you, I think, is what these team sports have been teaching me. Wrestling, football with the Jags, I learned a lot from there. It's a great opportunity. I'm blessed to be a part of a team like that. And, you know, it's just
It's
growing.
funny because I try to teach my son a lot about perception and being like, don't just look what's in front of you, look what's around you. There's a lot that you can learn. And when you're learning through life, you got to take everything. So even in my instance, for example, I was in the hospital not that long ago. You know, I could have called it quits. I could have done, hey, I'm not going to get better, this and that, but that's not what it's about. It's about persevering, you know, learning how to overcome through adversity. And if there's anything a parent should be able to teach their kids, it's exactly that. Like you don't want to enable them. It's one thing to love them and say, listen, I can do everything for Gianni, but how is that going to help him later on in life? All he's going to be is, you know, a grown man dependent on his family. I want him to be able to say, hey, I taught you how to fish. Go fish. As a matter of fact, bring me back something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Like, man, you done went through your whole journey. You had your ups and downs. You had your losses. Is it anything that you would change about your journey, and if so, what it is?
Nah, I wouldn't change anything, to be honest. It all taught me a valuable lesson, and it all helped me to grow as a person. I feel like if I didn't take those losses early, or take those losses at all, I don't feel like I'd be as good as I am now at what I do. You know, it's all a part of it.
Man.
I
So,
do 100%.
man, so like, you see yourself. I mean, so with going into next year, your mindset. You about to graduate this summer. I'm pretty sure you're gonna enjoy the beach. You're gonna be a kid for a while because once you get up there, man, you gotta hit the ground running.
Yep.
So what you got planned for the summer?
And just, you know, this is probably my first time since I was 6 years old where I got a summer off. I'm able to sort of experience a little bit of the fun life, and I probably, you know, just hang out with my friends. Live life a little, hang out with my parents. You know, have a good little social life going for a little bit.
I lax a little because honestly, man, since he was six, I mean, we've been on the grind.
Yeah. So who's the lucky lady?
Everything.
Nah,
You got a girl?
I don't do any of that. I'm staying focused.
Nah. Hey.
Like,
Ladies can wait. Ladies can wait, man.
I like that.
You ain't throwing a monkey wrench in my
Hey, I like that, man.
That's all good. Leave it
Man,
for the
let
other
me tell you,
guys.
hey, listen, let me tell you something. That you looking at two people here, it destroyed us. We made. I ain't gonna say it destroyed us
Kryptonite,
because
baby. You know what
Because
it
I
is.
tell my son this: my biggest mistake was the biggest blessing, and it's the blessing that keeps giving. And I never look at it, I just tell him that because I'm rough on it. I said, man, you know, you was my favorite mistake. Every time I say it, and he give it to him. I said, man, you are my favorite. I said, man, I couldn't have messed up no better than I did with you. And you know, we laugh about that, but man, enjoy your life while you can. And you know, like my son, like he's 20, he just turned 26.
Yeah.
He don't have no kids, and he told me, Dad, I'm focused on my mission.
Yeah.
And stay focused, because like he still like when he got to college, right? It was so funny. And he was like, man, Dad, how old are you? I said, man, I'm like,
he's all like,
I think he went to school. I'm 45. So I said, I'm like 40. I'd say 40. He said, man, Dad, you're young. I said, why you say that? He said, man, because all these kids up here, their dads are like 70. He said, man, this is not right, man. He said, man. I said, man, I started young. I said, what you got to understand? I said, their parents was more responsible because they probably waited till they were 30 and 35. I started at 18 years old. I say, that's a blessing. It was a mistake, but it was a blessing. But I was like, man, but you know what? I'm glad I did start young because now I can actually, you know, enjoy my grandkids if he ever give me some. But wait like he's waiting.
Yeah.
You know, and I have a daughter as well. She's at FIU, and doing great things as well, you know. So they're waiting. So you got the right idea.
When you make your decisions, how much of your dad is in your head when you say, you know what, I wonder if my daddy gonna see me when I do this?
A lot of it. Yeah. Always think about it. What do you think about this?
Hey. Man, I don't want to hear his mouth. And when your friend, you know your friend doing something wrong, and they be like, man, why you want to do it? Because you don't have to go home when I have to go home.
Listen, you know, sometimes you be like, my coach don't get on me, but my dad, man, listen.
You know what's funny, man? Growing up, and I'm pretty sure you guys can relate. You know, my dad, it was more the threat. Like, you know, hey, you gonna get your ass kicked, that kind of thing. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you all right.
That kind of thing. I don't want to do that to G. I want to teach him, like, why. There's a reason why.
Yeah.
Instead of me saying, hey, don't do that because I said so, I want to let him know, like, if this is what happens if you do that. Like, I want us to be on the same page. I think, like anything in life, you have to learn to adapt. Yeah. So you take your child, for example. Gianni's always going to be my kid. But he's not a 7-year-old Gianni or a 3-year-old Gianni. So as you're growing, it's different levels. Yeah. When he's 7 years old, I could tell him, G, go brush your teeth, take a bath. Right? Nobody gonna think nothing of it.
Yeah.
What if I'm telling him that when he's 17, 18 years old? How's that gonna look?
Yeah. You're right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. It's just more the mindset is growing with each other. I'm gonna be more like an advisor. You know, like a confidant.
Yeah, and
you know,
so
your
you
role
should
change a little bit. Feel me on that?
From a teacher to an advisor, like, hey, I told you.
I told you, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and to the point where I'll probably be listening a little bit more to him.
That's how it is. Marco, I promise you. My son, 2020, I could say was a rough year for me. I went through a divorce. Life situation changed. Living situation changed. And the person I talked to every day was my son.
Yeah.
And the roles reversed. He gave me some of the best advice that a kid could ever get a father. Everything I told him, that
blessing, bro.
You gotta keep pushing.
Yeah,
you change. Yeah, things change, Dad. And you know, I know things are hard, but kill them with success.
I ain't got no shame in that, man. That's what a lot of people gotta realize, man. Like, a lot of times it's your egos, especially for males. You know, we have too much egos.
Yep.
We need to have an ego for him, man. If I get a kid and he gives me great advice, just because he's a kid, I'm not gonna listen to it. I mean, if it's good advice,
yeah, my son tell me quick, man, Dad, you tripping, man. Like, what you got going on, man? Like, my son, like, and you know what? And I sit back and look, I'm like, yeah, man, I am tripping. Like, I am tripping. I can remember when me and my daughter wasn't seeing eye to eye. And he was like, man, Dad, you tripping. Well, look at it from this point. And you already know girls can be difficult, and you know, and said, Dad, but you gotta understand. And you know, he broke it down to me, and I started understanding it. And you know, it was like, you know what? Thank you. Like, you right. And like I say, like, I'm talking about, man, I had some dark days when I went through my divorce, and it was moments to where just call and say, hey, Dad, like, man, you all right? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm all right. And sometimes he ticked me off. Like I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, he ticked me off. Because he be in this world. And I be like, well, damn, I want to get for my son sometime. Like, he done got a girlfriend now. And, like, you know, he ain't got time for that. But goddamn, man, the daddy love you, man. God, Lee, holler at me sometime. No, he called me. I talked to him the other day.
One thing you're going to find out quick. Somebody that comes from you knows you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Man.
Yeah. Well, man, you know, this is another great interview. G, we wish you much success in your journey. Marco, may you still be the gas in the machine. G, you just gotta stay on track.
Listen, I was born with toe-to-toe, so
from the bricks,
however many rounds it takes.
Right, however many rounds it takes.
Built for it.
Hey, man, hey, listen. Crunch Time Survivors, we have a double header today. We got Coach Brandy from Be Elite Cheering coming on at 6 p.m. That's something you don't want to miss. So tap back in. It's a double header today, 6 p.m. Coach Brandy from Be Elite Cheering. She's going to run us through the whole game of competitive cheer in the urban areas and what has she done, the opportunities and all the great experiences she brought to the Tampa Bay community. So y'all tap in at 6, and that's been another episode of Crunch Time Survivors. I'm your man, Coach Chain.
I'm Coach Cat.
And that's G and Marco.
Make sure y'all watch him. Wait, listen, watch his process in his wrestling world, man. If you ain't know about wrestling, Got a reason to
Air
tune in
Force
right
gonna
now.
be doing great things.
yeah.
We're doing great things. So I need y'all to stop playing.
And it's like that.
Yes, sir.